St. Louis has always been my home. I grew up hearing tales of its rich history and dark past. The most intriguing of these stories was the legend of the St. Louis Shadow, a malevolent spirit believed to stalk the streets, leaving a trail of misfortune in its wake. Most folks dismissed it as just another urban legend, but a series of chilling events would make me question everything. My first encounter with the Shadow came on a cold winter's night. After working late at my downtown office, I decided to take a shortcut through the old alleyways. The streets were dimly lit, and the echo of my footsteps resonated through the cold air. Suddenly, a chilling gust of wind swept past, extinguishing the nearby street lamps. I felt a weight on my shoulders as if I was being watched. Quickening my pace, I turned a corner and froze. Ahead, against the brick walls of the alley, was the outline of a dark figure, but it was devoid of any source. No person or object cast that shadow, yet there it was, slowly creeping toward me. Panicking, I sprinted out of the alley, not daring to glance back. By the time I reached the safety of a well-lit street, the shadow was nowhere in sight. I tried convincing myself it was a trick of the light, a figment of my overactive imagination. The next morning, as I recounted the incident to my friend Laura over coffee, she grew pale. "I've seen it too," she whispered, recounting a similar experience from the previous week. She'd felt an overwhelming dread, an icy grip on her heart, and had fallen seriously ill the next day. Our conversation caught the attention of an elderly man at the next table. Introducing himself as Mr. O'Reilly, he revealed that he was a historian with a keen interest in local legends. "The St. Louis Shadow has been mentioned in records for over a century," he said, his voice heavy with age and wisdom. "It is believed to be a restless spirit seeking retribution for a grave injustice." Intrigued and a bit alarmed, I decided to delve deeper into the mystery. With Mr. O'Reilly's guidance, I scoured old records and newspaper clippings. We uncovered the tragic tale of Elias Burke, a local merchant in the late 1800s, who had been falsely accused of theft and was subjected to mob justice. Elias had proclaimed his innocence until his dying breath, swearing vengeance against the city that had betrayed him. It was believed that Elias's spirit became the St. Louis Shadow, a manifestation of his rage and anguish. Each appearance of the shadow resulted in misfortune or illness, as if Elias was seeking reparations for the wrong done to him. Determined to end this cycle of fear, Mr. O'Reilly and I, along with Laura, decided to confront the shadow. Consulting with a medium, we were guided to perform a ritual at the site of Elias's unjust death, an old courtyard in the heart of the city. On the night of the ritual, the wind howled, and an eerie mist enveloped the city. Standing in a circle, we chanted incantations under the medium's guidance. As the clock struck midnight, the temperature plummeted, and there it was, the St. Louis Shadow, looming large against the courtyard walls. I felt a cold dread, but also a profound sadness. This wasn't just a vengeful spirit, it was a tormented soul crying out for justice. Mustering courage, I stepped forward. "Elias Burke," I began, my voice quivering, "we recognize the wrong that was done to you. We, the descendants of St. Louis, apologize and seek to make amends." The shadow seemed to quiver, its edges becoming less defined. Laura joined in. "We promise to honor your memory, to ensure your story is told, that such injustices are never repeated." A soft whisper, like a distant echo, filled the air. "Justice," it murmured, repeating the word over and over, each time growing fainter. As dawn's first light appeared on the horizon, the shadow dispersed, leaving behind an empty courtyard and a city free from its haunting grip. Over the next few weeks, a transformation swept over St. Louis. Stories of the shadow, now intertwined with Elias's tragic tale, became a sensation. A memorial was erected in the courtyard, honoring Elias Burke and serving as a reminder of the city's commitment to justice and fairness. Laura's health improved dramatically, and the city experienced a period of peace and prosperity like never before. As for me, the experience changed the way I look at everything. My name's Jake, and I've always been fascinated by forgotten places. Urban exploring was my passion, and there was no better canvas for my YouTube channel than the eerie underbelly of St. Louis, especially the tunnels beneath the notorious Lemp Mansion. I'd read all the stories, the Lemp family fortunes, their brewing empire, and the tragic string of suicides that haunted them. I'd never given much thought to my own ancestry. I was adopted, and my birth family was always an enigma. But this story wasn't about me, or so I thought. Hey everyone, Jake here. Tonight we're venturing into the unknown corridors beneath the Lemp Mansion. Rumors say the family had secret passages here, long forgotten by time. Let's uncover these mysteries together. I addressed my camera as I entered the yawning mouth of the entrance. The air grew cooler as I descended, my flashlight cutting through the pervasive darkness. As I ventured deeper, the atmosphere became dense, almost palpable. The walls whispered stories of yesteryears, of opulence, grand parties, and devastating losses. Suddenly, an echoing whisper tickled my ear. "Why have you come?" I whirled around but saw nothing. I brushed it off as my imagination and nerves playing tricks on me. Deeper into the labyrinth, I stumbled upon an old photograph, water-stained and crumpled. It depicted a man eerily familiar with sharp features and piercing eyes. My own reflection in a stagnant pool of water nearby was nearly identical. A shiver ran down my spine. That's when I found the journal, old and mildewed but legible. The name on the cover sent chills down my spine. William J. Lemp. Curiosity piqued, I began to read. William wrote of a child sent away to protect the family's reputation, a child who would never know of his true lineage. The more I read, the more the pieces fell into place. Descriptions of the child's birthmarks, his interests, they all mirrored mine. Behind me, a soft lament began, growing in intensity. The voice was hauntingly familiar, like the one from earlier, but now filled with sorrow. Why did they send you away? Why did our bloodline have to suffer? Panicking, I tried retracing my steps, but the passages twisted and shifted. It felt like the mansion itself was alive, trapping me within its secrets. In the heart of the labyrinth, I found a grand room, untouched by time. In its center stood a grand mirror with an ornate frame. As I approached, the reflection wasn't my own. Instead, it was a gathering, a spectral vision of the Lemp family. One of them stepped forward, his likeness identical to mine. "You've returned," he whispered, his voice filled with both joy and sorrow. It was William J. Lemp. The realization was heavy. My passion for urban exploration, my draw to the Lemp Mansion, it wasn't mere coincidence. It was a call from the past, an unbroken bond between bloodlines. William's spirit spoke of regrets, of choices made to protect the family name but at a great personal cost. You were the future, sent away to keep you safe. But the curse of our family followed, sealing our tragic fates. Suddenly the room shifted, and the spirits began to fade, leaving me with William. "You have a chance to break this chain," he whispered. "Live where we could not." As the final echo of his voice faded, a secret passage opened, leading me back to the world above. The weight of my ancestry pressed on me, but it was paired with a newfound purpose. The video ended with me addressing the camera, the Lemp Mansion standing ominous behind me. Our pasts are sometimes more intertwined with our present than we could ever imagine. The Lemp Mansion isn't just a relic of history for me, it's personal. Remember, always cherish your roots, for they shape your path in ways you might never foresee. The upload was a hit, but beyond the views and likes, it was a journey of self-discovery for me, a descent into history, and a return with a deeper understanding of who I was and who I was meant to be. The moon's silver rays dappled through the twisted arms of grapevines, revealing a vast vineyard stretching out before me. I wasn't sure why I was here, but the bottle in my hand was a good clue. The label had long faded, but the taste of the aged wine was a comforting reminder of what I had been doing earlier in the evening. I staggered through the rows of vines, the bottle held loosely in one hand. My thoughts were blurry, and my movements even more so. Everything felt like a dream, a hauntingly beautiful one. The world around me was a whirlwind of muddled colors and shapes. "Another toast to me!" I yelled, raising the nearly empty bottle towards the sky, uncaring that there was nobody else around. A gust of wind swept across, rustling the leaves of the grapevines and carrying with it an icy whisper. "Why are you here?" I froze. Did the wind just speak? I laughed, the alcohol-infused chuckle echoing in the still night. "Who said that? Come out and join me for a drink." But there was no response, just the soft rustling of the leaves. I continued walking, swaying slightly. After what felt like hours, I found a decrepit wooden shed hidden deep within the vineyard. Curiosity propelled me forward. The door groaned in protest as I pushed it open. Inside, there were barrels stacked on top of each other, covered in a thick layer of dust. Perfect! More wine for me, I thought gleefully. Just as I was about to pop open a barrel, I heard it again. The whisper, closer this time. "Why are you here?" I spun around, trying to find the source of the voice. "Who's there?" My words came out slurred. Suddenly, the shed's temperature dropped. An icy draft swept through, and the barrels started to shake, their contents sloshing audibly. One by one, the barrels burst open, spewing out not wine, but dark, thick blood that quickly flooded the floor. Horrified, I backed against the shed's wall, my feet slipping in the growing pool of blood. "This isn't real," I murmured, trying to convince myself. "It's just the alcohol." But then out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. A ghostly figure, her form distorted and her face obscured by a tattered veil, standing at the entrance of the shed. Her whispers became louder, more insistent. "Why are you here?" Panicking, I tried to make a run for it, but the mixture of intoxication and the slippery floor betrayed me. I fell, the blood now covering me. She glided closer, the veil lifting slightly to reveal hollow eyes that seemed to look right through me. Her voice was now a chilling scream. "Why are you here?" I could hardly breathe, the weight of my actions pressing down on me. Images of earlier in the evening flashed before my eyes. The party, the argument. Me stealing a bottle of wine from the old vineyard everyone said was cursed. Tears streamed down my face. "I'm sorry," I managed to choke out. "I didn't know. I just wanted a drink." The ghostly figure paused, her whispers now a soft, sorrowful lament. "The curse of the vineyard is not to be trifled with. Every drop taken awakens my pain." I was paralyzed with fear. "Please!" My voice quivered. "I didn't know." The figure extended a skeletal hand, touching my forehead. Instantly, every bit of drunken belligerence was replaced with crystal-clear memories of every wrong I'd ever committed, every pain I'd ever inflicted. The weight of it was crushing, the anguish, the remorse. It was unbearable. It felt like hours, but might have been mere moments before she retracted her hand. "Go." Her voice was softer now, more forgiving. "And never return. Let my suffering be a lesson to you." I scrambled to my feet, the blood now gone, replaced with the familiar dirt of the vineyard. I didn't look back as I ran, her whispers still echoing in my ears. By dawn, I had left the vineyard far behind. The events of the night were forever seared into my memory. While the intoxication had worn off, the weight of my actions, the pain I had felt, remained. It was a chilling reminder that some places, some stories, were best left untouched, and that the intoxicating allure of forbidden things often comes with a terrifying price.